Vixen. A woman who is attractive and uses her charms to get her way, often mischievously. She's a vixen, always knowing how to get what she wants from men. Player. A person who dates multiple people at the same time without commitment. He's such a player, he has a different girlfriend every week. Cougar. An older woman who dates or pursues younger men. She's known as a cougar, always dating guys much younger than her. Rebel. Someone who refuses to follow the rules or authority. She skipped school again, such a rebel. Frenemy. A person who pretends to be a friend but is actually an enemy. I thought she was my friend, but she turned out to be a frenemy. Trophy wife. A younger woman who marries an older, wealthy man, often for status or money. People say she's just a trophy wife, there for the luxury lifestyle. Grifter. A person who cheats or scams others for money or gain. He's a grifter, always looking for his next con. Prude. A woman who is very conservative or strict about moral issues, especially regarding sex. They call her a prude because she doesn't like talking about anything risque. Homewrecker. A woman who has an affair with a married man, leading to the breakdown of his marriage. She's a homewrecker, having an affair with a married man and ruining his family. Clout chaser. Someone who does things just to gain fame or attention. She only hangs out with popular people because she's a clout chaser. Trash talk. Speaking badly about someone, usually to insult them. They were trash-talking their opponents before the game. Heartbreaker. Someone who often ends relationships and leaves others hurt. He's known as a heartbreaker because he never stays with anyone long. Flirt. A person who behaves as if they're interested in someone romantically, often without serious intent. He's a big flirt, always charming the girls but never committing. Grimy. Someone who is dirty or morally questionable. That deal he offered sounds grimy. I wouldn't trust him. Mean girl. A woman who is deliberately unkind or cruel to others, especially in a social setting. She's a mean girl, always making fun of others to feel superior. Bridezilla. A bride-to-be who is very demanding and difficult to deal with during wedding planning. She's turned into a total bridezilla, micromanaging every detail of the wedding. Nosy Nelly. A woman who is overly interested in other people's private matters. She's a nosy Nelly, always prying into her neighbor's business. Addict. Someone who cannot stop doing something harmful, like drugs or gambling. He's struggling as an addict and needs help. Wimp. Someone who is weak or lacks courage. Example, stop being a wimp and face your fears head on. Drama queen. Someone who overreacts to minor issues and seeks attention. Example, she's such a drama queen, always making a fuss over the smallest things. Tattletale. Someone who reports others' mistakes or misdeeds. Example, he's a tattletale, always running to the boss about small issues. Jerk. Someone who is rude or mean. Example, he was such a jerk, cutting in line and pushing people aside. Blabbermouth. Someone who talks too much and can't keep secrets. Example, don't tell her anything, she's a blabbermouth. Snob. Someone who thinks they are superior to others. Example, she's a snob, always looking down on people she considers less sophisticated. Grump. Someone who is easily annoyed and in a bad mood. Example, don't mind him, he's just a grump who complains about everything. Airhead. Someone who is not very smart or is forgetful. Example, she forgot her phone at home again. What an airhead! Backstabber. A person who betrays or deceives others. I can't trust him. He's a backstabber spreading lies about his friends behind their backs. Stubborn. Someone who is unwilling to change their mind or attitude. Example, she's so stubborn, she won't admit she was wrong. Bonehead. A foolish or stupid person. Example, only a bonehead would leave their keys in the car with the engine running. Bossy. Someone who tells others what to do all the time. Example, she's so bossy, she always wants to control everything we do. Bum. Someone who avoids work and is often lazy. Example, he's just a bum, always sitting around and doing nothing. Cheap. Someone who doesn't want to spend money and is stingy. Example, he's too cheap to buy a round of drinks for everyone. Chicken. Someone who is afraid or lacks courage. Example, don't be a chicken, try the new ride, it's fun. Clingy. Someone who is too dependent on others for attention and affection. Example, he's so clingy, he calls me all the time and can't stand being alone. Conceited. Someone who is too proud of themselves and their abilities. Example, he's so conceited, always bragging about his achievements. Creep. Someone who behaves in an unsettling or disturbing way. Example, that guy at the party was a real creep, always staring and making people uncomfortable. Moaner. Someone who complains a lot. Example, he's always a moaner, never satisfied with anything. Dimwit. A person who is not very intelligent. Example, he was acting like a dimwit, not understanding the simplest instructions. Flake. Someone who is unreliable and often cancels plans. Example, she's such a flake, she never shows up when she says she will. Freeloader. Someone who takes advantage of others and doesn't contribute. Example, he's a freeloader, always eating our food without helping out. Gossiper. Someone who spreads rumors or talks about others behind their backs. Example, she's a gossiper. She's always talking about what others are doing. Idiot. A person who acts in a very foolish way. Example, it was such an idiot move to forget the important documents at home. Know-it-all. Someone who acts as if they know everything. Example, I can't stand him. He's such a know-it-all, always correcting everyone. Loser. Someone who is unsuccessful or lacks social skills. Example, he feels like a loser because he hasn't achieved his goals yet. Loudmouth. Someone who talks loudly and says things that should be kept private. Example, he's a loudmouth, always broadcasting everyone's secrets. Lunatic. Someone who behaves in a crazy or irrational way. Example, that guy is a lunatic, driving like a maniac on the highway. Nerd. Someone who is very interested in technical or intellectual subjects. Example, he's a total nerd when it comes to computers and video games. Pessimist. Someone who always expects the worst to happen. Example, he's such a pessimist. He never believes things will turn out well. Pig. Someone who eats too much or is very messy. Example, he ate like a pig at the party, leaving crumbs everywhere. Pretentious. Someone who tries to appear more important or knowledgeable than they are. Example, his pretentious attitude made him seem insincere and annoying. Slob. Someone who is very messy and untidy. Example, his room is a disaster. He's such a slob. Sponger. Someone who takes advantage of others and avoids responsibility. Example, he's a sponger, always borrowing money without ever paying it back. Ungrateful. Someone who does not show appreciation for what they receive. Example, she was ungrateful for the help she received. not even saying thank you. Weirdo. Someone who is strange or unconventional. Example, he's a bit of a weirdo with his unusual hobbies and quirks. Witch. Someone who is perceived as unpleasant or difficult to deal with. Example, she can be a real witch when things don't go her way. Wuss. Someone who is weak or easily frightened. Example, he's such a wuss, always getting scared at the slightest thing. Thanks for watching and subscribe us for more.